Are we heading?
Hello. Shall we start now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, excellent. So good afternoon, everybody. We'll follow the same pattern that we used to for CLAT. We'll go through the mock test first, and then I will reserve half an hour to take questions from you guys. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
All right then. So let's start here. I'll give you guys about a minute to read through the first passage and then we'll take the questions. Okay? All right, here you go. All right, fairly small passage, so you don't need too much time for this. Okay, so the first question. What is the main thematic of the passage? A, author struggle with being herself and becoming who everyone expects her to be. B, authors struggle to understand that everyone else is not her enemy. C, highlighting the inequality that exists in the world. And D, women should learn to stand up for themselves. What is she talking about? She's talking about her own struggle, right? She says how she rebelled and first she understood from her mother and then her peers, neighbors, etc. What is expected from her as a girl, and then she rebelled against it. But then again, she wanted to be accepted, to be treated as an equal. So all this is her struggle. She's talking about her own struggle. So our answer is A, the author's struggle about with being herself and becoming who everyone expects her to be. It's clear from the passage, right?
Yes, ma'am.
He's talking about the society's expectations from her as a girl, as a female, and then her own self and what she wants to do. She wants to curse like a boy, she wants to smoke like a boy, she wants to do the things that boys do. But then, that is her struggle because she will not be accepted if she, being a girl, behaves like a boy. So that is her struggle. So our answer is A. Okay. Now the second one. What is the meaning of obscure in the context of the passage? A, easily accessible. B, tough to find. C, secret. And D, colorful.
Tough to find.
Right. Obscure is tough to find. And that is the general meaning of the word obscure anyway. Most of the time you will find the word used in that context. So this is a fairly easy question that way. Okay, third one. Which of these statements could be true for the author? A, the author still blames her aunt for judging her in childhood. B, the author has moved on and does not dwell on these things anymore. C, the author is trying to see inequality with objectivity so she does not put blame on others. And D, the author wants to start a rebellion to change things. Again, this is fairly straightforward and pretty
Ma'am,
much there.
C, the
It is-
author is trying to see inequality with objectivity, so she does not put blame on others.
Right, absolutely. See here. She talks about the metamorphosis from that mindset to learning and believing that we are all victims of the same system, the same conditioning. And this was a tough one, but she resisted it for long before giving it. And this option C, the author is trying to see inequality with objectivity so she does not put blame on others. This is directly coming from that passage.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Then what is the meaning of the word metamorphosis? A, minor change. B,
Ma'am,
D.
Ma'am, D, a huge in transformation.
option D.
right. And option D. Where else do we find the word metamorphosis being used most commonly?
Ma'am, in transformation of rocks.
Okay. And
And ma'am, it's also a name of a very popular book.
right. And who's the author of that book?
Ma'am, that I don't remember, but it's very popular.
Okay, look it up. You just might be asked that question in GK.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. See, the most popular example of metamorphosis would be the change of a caterpillar to a butterfly. Right? Think about it. Everybody must have read some paragraph or the other somewhere which would talk about this. Anyway, metamorphosis in general means a huge transformation. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What does the author mean when she says she will be born again in the concluding words of the passage? A, she would be free to unlock the girl hidden away due to society's requirements. B, she would commit suicide and be born into a better life. C, she would have a daughter through whom she would live a second life. And D, none of the above.
Ma'am, A, she would be free to unlock the girl hidden
Ma'am,
away
option A.
society's requirement.
Right, it is option A. She keeps talking about this little box that she has locked away, and then she talks about opening it. So that is there in the last paragraph, and it's fairly straightforward from that. All right.
Ma'am, the
Second.
author of that book is Franz Kafka.
Right. And what
Yes,
country does he belong to?
Just a second, ma'am. Ma'am, Germany.
Right. But where did he live for most of his life?
I'm not very much familiar with this author.
Okay. It's a classic, but it's very, very famous. Everybody
Yes,
should read
ma'am.
it. It's a very small book. It's very, very small. It's
Yes,
really a thin, small book. So you'll get the English translation. I think it should be available online actually. I'm not very sure if it's out of copyright yet, but should be available. All right. Now the second passage. I'll again give you guys about a minute to read this, and then we'll take the questions.
And please go.
All right. Shall we take the questions now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the meaning of the word haggle? To hurry, to bargain, to be violent, calmness.
To bargain.
Right, to bargain. It's very clear from the last sentence, right? The cheap thrill of being able to haggle your price.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We wanted to be part of this movement. Which movement is the author referring to? A, movement of goods from one place to another. B, movement towards technological advancement. C, movement of numerous time-saving mechanisms. And D, movement towards financial independence.
Ma'am, B, movement towards technological advancement.
Right. She talks about being on the phone, getting doorstep delivery, etc. Right. All right. What is the meaning of the word incessant? A,
Continuous.
non, B, continuous, C, with interrupts,
Continuous.
D, excessively loud. Right. It is B, continuous. Incessant, non-stop, literally. Cessation is stopping. So IN, DIS, UN, adding these before a word makes it the opposite. So incessant is continuous, non-stop. All right. What does the author mean when she says, I get ma? A, I understand ma. B, I have turned more and more like my mother. C, I went to pick her up. And D, I miss ma.
Ma'am, A, I understand, ma'am.
Understand, ma'am.
Right. This is very common, right? This is how we talk. It might not be how we usually write, but this is something we always talk. Like when we are speaking to somebody, we always say, I get you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that just means that I understand what you're saying. So the author understands what her mother was trying to tell her. So it's, I understand, mom. All right. What did the author do when she dwelled on her phone for hours? A, wondered about the marvel of technology. B, talked on her phone. C, used her phone. And D, none of the above.
Ma'am, C, used her phone.
Right. C, used her phone. We don't know what she used her phone for. So we don't know whether she was wondering about the marvel of technology as she played Candy Crush on her phone or whether she was talking to her phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Just know that she used her phone.
Ma'am, I'm confused about the question, the option 1.
Wondered about the marvel of technology.
Yes, ma'am. Why not? Why can't it be
The question is, what did the author do when she dwelled on her phone for hours? Okay, let's see where it's used.
A? Yes, ma'am.
I moved to New Delhi on my own and dwelled on my phone for hours like anyone from my generation who grew up with landlines in their homes. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this sentence talking about technological marvels? No.
Okay.
After that, she goes on to say, we soon discovered websites that would deliver any book you wanted to your home. That is a later discovery. But dwelled on my phone for hours, Here it's just about using her phone. We don't know what she used her phone for. She could have been shopping on Flipkart. She could have been playing Candy Crush. She could have been making pictures for Instagram. We don't know. We just know that she was using her phones for hours, right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so that was the last one. Again, I'm going to give you about a minute to read the third passage and then we'll take the questions. Small passage again. I'm reading. What does the author mean by proving worthy of the Bengali blood running through his veins? A. Muhammad Arif was an avid reader, as one would expect a Bengali to be. B. Muhammad Arif had left his Bengali heritage behind and was ashamed of it. C. Bengalis are stereotyped to be avid readers, which Muhammad Arif aspired to be. And D. Muhammad Arif was a distant relative of Rabindranath Tagore. All right. Very simple, right? Let's look at the sentence where it's used. Proving worthy of the Bengali blood running through his veins, Arif has read any book that you pick up from that pile. So, right, it is A. Muhammad Arif was an avid reader, as one would expect a Bengali to be. C is
And what
partially
is avid?
correct. C is partially correct. It says Bengalis are stereotyped to be avid readers, which is correct. But then it goes to say which Muhammad Arif aspired to be. Now we know that that is not correct because he has already read all the books that he's selling. So he's not aspiring to be an avid reader. He's already an avid reader. So therefore our answer is A, which is correct in both.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why does the author say that Muhammad Arif's story, in a way, is a rags to riches story? A, it appears that Muhammad Arif was still earning a good amount of money by selling books. B, his family had left him a fortune and he was just choosing not to use it. C, he had lost money but gained experience and wisdom, which is no less than any riches. And D, he was not crying about not having a lot.
Ma'am, option C.
Right. This is option
C.
C. He had lost money but gained experience and wisdom. Very straightforward from the passage. Okay. Now, question 3. Why is his impeccable use of the English language a distinctive quality to the author? A, the author did not expect a street bookseller to be educated. B, the author thought he was lying about his background. C, the author thought he was arrogant. And D, he was also well versed with the books that he was selling.
Ma'am, A, the author did not expect a street bookseller to be educated, and it's given in
Right,
the passage itself.
right, exactly. It's given in the passage itself.
Yes, ma'am.
So A is the correct answer. Okay. What did Muhammad Arif mean when he said that this country offers nothing but struggle? A, he was frustrated at not earning a lot of money. B, he was angry that he lost loved ones in the Bangladesh Liberation War. C, he was referring to the state of affairs for an educated, well-read man in a developing nation. And D, he was angry at the government for not doing enough for migrant population.
Ma'am, B, he was angry
Ma'am,
that
option C.
Ma'am, option
Bangladesh
C.
Bangladesh Liberation War.
No, this is option C. He's referring to the state of affairs for an educated, well-read man in a developing nation. Let's go back and see what it says about. Paragraph, right? See the second last paragraph and the context of the Bangladesh Liberation War, and then see the last paragraph.
But ma'am, in the proving worthy वाला paragraph last की 3 lines में जो लिखा है कि it is here that he relives his old age frustration about the country and its people.
Let's look at the question again. What did Muhammad Arif mean when he said that this country offers nothing but struggle? Okay. Where does he talk about this? In the last paragraph? What is life without struggle? Nothing teaches you more than what challenges teach you. And we have the privilege of living in a country that offers us nothing but struggle. He chuckles. Okay. Now let's look at the options. He was frustrated at not earning a lot of money. We know this is not true because he doesn't sell a book for more than 50 rupees, no matter how popular it is. So clearly he's fine with that. B, he was angry that he lost loved ones in the Bangladesh Liberation War. Is this correct? It is correct as a sentence, but it's not the answer to this question. Is he angry about losing his family in the Bangladesh Liberation War? Yes, he is, because it's given here. The site makes us wonder what such an educated man is doing selling books on the street. The answer lies within the anger beneath his pale eyes against killings that occurred during the Bangladesh Liberation War of 1971. So he is angry about that, but that is not the struggle he's talking about. His struggle is not that his family was killed. His struggle is that he is a well-educated man, but he is still living the life of a street bookseller.
Ma'am, last second line, it is written that they have left him with nothing but fond memories. In the paragraph of struggle, last second line.
Right.
I think B must be the right answer.
How is it B? What is B here? He was angry that he lost loved ones in the Bangladesh Liberation War. this sentence is correct by itself. Okay, if you were asked whether this sentence is correct or not in the context of the passage, yes, this sentence is correct. He is angry that he lost his loved ones. But what is our question? Our question is, what does he mean when he said that this country offers nothing but struggle?
Yes, ma'am.
So he is referring to the state of affairs for an educated, well-read man in a developing nation. He
Yes,
is
ma'am.
not saying he is angry at the government for not doing enough for migrant population.
Yeah,
He
ma'am.
is
Got it.
referring to the general state of affairs. Nowhere does he say he is angry with the government. He is angry that he lost his family in the Bangladesh war.
Yes.
Okay, so our answer here is C. When he says that this country offers nothing but struggle, he is referring to the state of affairs for an educated, well-read man in a developing nation. Okay? Clear? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So then we'll go to the fourth passage. Again, I'll give you guys about a minute to read this and then we'll take the question. Right? You can go to the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
When was this article written? December 2015, January 2016, January 2015, and May 2014. January 2015, right? It talks about April 2014. And then it says 9 months post that incident. And then it says 10 days ago on January 3rd. So they are talking about mid-January of 2015. Right?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, the लास्ट से जो फिफ्थ लाइन है वहाँ पे again.
Yeah, again on January 10th.
Yeah, ma'am. What is does mean?
Right. So the question is, when was this article written?
Yes, ma'am.
So, if we look at the timelines in the passage, it is talking about an incident in April 2014.
Hmm.
And it says, as of now, almost 9 months post that incident.
Hmm.
So we count from April
January
2014.
2015.
It brings us to January 2015, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
And then we have a line which says around 10 days ago on January 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
So that brings us to January 13th-ish, right?
Hmm.
So mid of January. And which is again further supported by this sentence that you pointed out, again on January 10th. So we are clearly after January 10th. But then we don't need to figure out the exact date because our options are just months.
Yeah, ma'am.
So it is option C, January 2015.
Yes, ma'am.
If this passage was in your quantitative techniques, you would be asked to figure out the exact date,
Yeah.
right? But this is English, so we can get away with just the month. All right. What is the main thematic of this passage? A, journalists are biased people. B, there are some incidents that get more attention in the media due to underlying, okay, it's not underlying, it should be underlying racism. C, people refrain from talking about Africa because of racism. And D, African countries deserve to get more attention than European countries.
Ma'am, option B.
Right. There are some incidents that get more attention in the media due to underlying racism. And this comes from our last sentence itself. One wonders if the media is so sensitive towards the Charlie Hebdo case because there are journalists involved in it, or this is just another form of racism that we are witnesses of. All right. Why does the author think that the Charlie Hebdo case got more attention than the events involving Boko Haram? A, media was concerned about negatively impacting society. B, Charlie Hebdo case involved more high-profile victims. C, Nigeria is a poor country and such attacks are common. And D, deep-rooted racism and white supremacy results in less coverage of issues related to the third world in global media. Again, this follows from the second question and the same line that we read just now. Deep-rooted racism and white supremacy results in less coverage of issues related to the third world in global media. That is the theme in the entire passage, right? The author is talking about something happened in Nigeria, then something happened in France, and everybody forgot about what happened in Nigeria, and everybody is concentrating on Europe. Something big happened in Africa, nobody cared about it because everybody was busy looking at what was happening in Europe. Right? So it is D. Deep-rooted racism and white supremacy results in less coverage of issues related to the third world in global media. All right. What is the meaning of the word disseminate? A, keep to oneself. B, spread. C, familiarize oneself with. And D, hold in secret.
Ma'am, option B. Spread.
Ma'am,
Right.
C,
No,
familiarize oneself with.
no, disseminate is spread. Dissemination of information. You are releasing information. You are spreading information. Okay. So this is B, spread. Okay. What does the word zilch mean? A large amount. B, few. C, nothing. And D, abundance.
Ma'am, nothing.
Nothing. This we use very, very often, right? This is a colloquial term, zilch. Zilch, nada, nothing. The fifth passage, again, I'll give you guys a minute to read it and then we'll take the questions.
क्या हो गया?
भाई तबीयत खराब है।
सब ठीक है ना?
नहीं यार,
भाई कोविड का टेस्ट करवाया?
कराया था।
Guys,
Cutting later.
what are you doing?
We can reserve the chit chat and the catching up for later.
चल फिर बाद में कर लेंगे.
Positive. Mom, you can check who recently joined and you can figure out who it was.
आया मम्मी.
यार माइक म्यूट कर लो यार.
I am assuming everybody has finished reading. What does the author say drew her to the world of books? A. School library. B. Encouraging parents. C. A friend's insistence. And D. Ruskin Bond stories.
Ma'am, encouraging parents.
Encouraging parents.
Encouraging parents.
Encouraging parents.
Right. It is encouraging parents because the author clearly talks about their mother reading
Yes.
to them. All right. What does the phrase looking over my shoulder mean? A. Eavesdropping. B. Taking care of me. C. Making me anxious. And D. Worry.
शोल्डर के ऊपर से देखना.
I'm B, taking care of me.
I'm taking care of
B.
I'm taking
Option
care
B.
of me.
Right.
I'm option B.
Taking care of me.
मेरा तो कोई लगता नहीं जाए.
Remember those Disney cartoons where you have an angel sitting on one side, on one shoulder, and then a devil sitting on the other shoulder?
Yes, ma'am.
Either way, either the angel or the devil, one of them will be taking care of you.
Mankind.
All right. What does the statement, my grandfather says that's what books are for, to travel without moving an inch mean? A.
मैम
Reading
पैर नहीं
books
चलते उनके.
No. A. Reading books is for lazy people who don't like moving. No.
Ma'am, C, books give one
Ma'am, option
insight
C.
into different parts of the world even without
दोनों
seeing
माइक
them
दे दिया.
physically.
Right. It is option C. Books give one an insight into different parts of the world without seeing them physically. Let's look at this
Personal experience
sentence here.
always gives a better perspective, ma'am.
Sorry?
But personal experience always had a better perspective on life instead of just absorbing it from someone else.
True.
That
That's
depends
debatable
on you.
indeed.
See, look at the last sentence here. My children and all the children around me will see the world like this, not just with their eyes, but with their hearts. See, you can go and visit a place and look at things. Okay. But the perspective of somebody who has been there, who has lived there and written about it, that is very, very different. And I can tell you this from my personal experience. I have been to 53 countries in the world.
Wow.
And I still read at least one book a day.
Ma'am, a day?
Yeah.
And that's very impressive, ma'am.
53 countries in a day?
No, 53 countries in my life. Good Lord. How will I go to 53 countries in a day?
Man, Europe.
I
man,
don't have the
travel.
TARDIS.
When you go to Europe, it's practically possible, ma'am. Like if you calculate the distance between two countries, it's almost nil.
See, in Europe, even if you fly around, you will not be able to do 53 countries. Europe does not have 53 countries to begin with. It has 30 odd countries, I think 36 or.
Ma'am, it was just
Ma'am,
a GP
20,
test.
28 or 29.
38 to be precise,
Yeah,
ma'am.
that's EU and Europe are
Yeah.
slightly different.
28 to
So,
29.
right. And you can't really go to all of them in a day. You can easily do maybe
ऐसा हो तो क्या
4
कुछ
or
नहीं।
5. If you go to the smaller Eastern European countries like broken up ex-USSR things, they are very, very small and they are
Ma'am, but
like an
again,
hour's drive from each other.
ma'am, how do we develop such a speed to read a book in a day?
Practice, ma'am.
Yeah, you practice. Just
Basically,
read.
the velocity, if you calculate, the mind's velocity goes around two pages per minute. So if you want to go with that velocity, you can always go ahead and just read those words really fast and you'll eventually get there.
See, this is one of the reading tips that
That's
I
right.
had shared earlier. You read with your eyes and not, speak out each word in your head as you read. So that increases your reading speed by leaps and bounds.
Ma'am, but then we have a problem of retention, don't we?
Ma'am, what's the
That
answer
depends
of
on the
same?
person.
Reading and memorizing are different.
Bro, that's if in case you have a short-term memory, then you can't retain it. That's
Well,
your
if you
issue,
want to
man.
retain, you just have to keep in mind that you got to read again and again. You got to read the more book, and then eventually it will get into your mind, and then you can read again, and eventually, yeah.
It depends on what you're reading. If you're reading a Harry Potter book, why do you need to memorize every sentence?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And conversely, if it is a really interesting book, you will remember it anyway.
Yes, ma'am, true, ma'am. Ma'am, but
Ma'am,
sometimes what happens is if you read really fast, the interest isn't developed.
dictionary
See,
pada.
okay, I will tell you this, which I should not be saying as a teacher, but
Ma'am,
if the book is interesting enough, it will hook you, regardless of whether you read fast or read slow, or whether it's a topic you like or not. If the book is interesting enough, if it is written well enough, the book itself is going to grab hold of you.
got it, ma'am. Ma'am, I've been trying to read books, but इसी वजह से I couldn't.
Right. So try out different kinds of books. See, everybody doesn't like reading the same kinds of books. I know people who love reading biographies but cannot stand a fantasy novel.
Yes, ma'am, true, ma'am.
Right. I can't stand reading a biography at all. Give me any fiction, I will read it. But if I have to read an autobiography or a biography, unless it is of some person which I really, really admire, I find it
Chetan
very
Bhagat.
boring.
Ma'am, Half Girlfriend.
Sorry?
Ma'am, Half Girlfriend, ma'am, it's a really realistic novel, ma'am. Have you read it?
Realistically, I have done what?
Ma'am, have you read Half Girlfriend, ma'am? It's really amazing, ma'am. You should give it a try.
Half Girlfriend, Chetan Bhagat.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a 1 hour read.
Ma'am, it took me 7 days, ma'am.
It's more like a hour and a half watch, bro. Arjun Kapoor was amazing.
But he doesn't know how to act, man. Like he's a pure target of nepotism, man. He doesn't deserve to be in movies.
Hey guys, but we're
Ma'am,
not
teach
talking
him.
about nepotism right now. It's just about a book. Like it's a book, and now we're just, seeing that how much time we take while reading it. Nepotism doesn't really.
But I feel like he
You
had a good
say
acting
you
when he
took
was in book.
7 days to read it, but if you take the cumulative of how many minutes or hours you actually spent with the book in your hand and looking into the book, that can't be 7 days, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you were doing other things. You maybe read 3 pages and then went off to have tea. You read another 5 pages, went off to watch TV. So see how much time you're cumulatively spending on the book. And then try and sit with a book which really interests you and finish it in one go. And then you will see what your reading speed is.
Mom, when I was reading a book in the school library, I picked up the dictionary. Mom, but the library, mom, she threw me out of the library, ma'am.
Well, it depends.
Ma'am,
Do you
please
like
move
reading a
on.
dictionary?
Ma'am, please
There
come on
are
topic.
Mom, I actually wanted to enhance my vocabulary, and I really felt hurt, mom, when she did that. So, mom, since then, I've really had a bad experience with book, ma'am.
just find something you like reading.
I cannot, ma'am.
I think we should continue with the topic and like the questions, please. Thank you.
Right.
Please,
All
ma'am.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are done with question 3, right? Let's go to question 4. Which of these statements could be true about the author's life based on the passage? A, the author belonged to a poor household where they could not travel much. B, the author was forced into the habit of reading by her parents as a child. C, the author's father was a librarian and she always had access to books. And D, the author's parents were encouraging of their children reading books.
Mom, she belonged to a poor household, and she
Ma'am,
wanted to be an.
Ma'am, D.
Ma'am, it's
the
D.
author's
The
parents
author
were
parents were
encouraging.
encouraging.
A.
Right.
A.
See, we don't really know whether she belonged to a poor household or not because there's only a minor mention about travel.
Mom
Right?
actually had a
Fortunately, with
stereotypical
the
view.
limited resources they had, my parents ensured that we had enough supply of books. So if they were
Oh, okay,
really
okay, okay.
poor, they
Yes,
wouldn't be
yes,
able
ma'am.
to buy so many books.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Like I definitely grew up to my parents complaining about how much I read.
I wish my parents had the same complaint from me.
All right. Okay. Which of these words can replace the word hooked in the passage? A, curved, B, attached, C, fastened, and D, addicted.
Be addicted.
Addicted.
D, addicted.
Be addicted.
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 It is addicted. All right. Now the last passage.
Ma'am, I guess there are some pranksters, ma'am. They're trying to disrupt our preparation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Guys, stop pranking. It's not funny. We have an exam coming.
He's right.
Very true.
Okay. People who are not interested in the lesson, you are free to leave. Okay. Nobody is forcing you to be here. Just let the people who want to be here and study do their studies. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
We will take questions after we have finished the passage.
Ma'am, also, ma'am, what sort of reference book should we consider for the RCs now? Like, as we have a little bit, very less time left.
We will come to it. Let's finish the passage first. This is the last passage. Let's just take 10
I'm
minutes.
good to scroll down. I read till the losing side.
This is the last paragraph.
Thank you.
What is the purpose of the Bechdel test? To test whether a work of fiction is feminist, to test if women are appropriately represented in a work of fiction, to find out if any work of fiction is representing the LGBTQIA+ community, and to test if there are lesbians in a film.
Ma'am, it's really
Ma'am, option
controversial, but
C.
I'll go for the first option, ma'am.
Ma'am, option
First
B.
option.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
option
option
B.
C.
Ma'am, it's
To
a
find out if
debatable.
any work of fiction representing the LGBTQIA plus community.
Ma'am, it's a debatable topic, but option C, ma'am. LGBTQ.
Ma'am, B, to test if women are
If women.
appropriately represented in a work
Ma'am, I
of
would go with
fiction.
B as well.
Right. This
Ma'am,
is
B.
to
B.
test if women are
B.
appropriately represented
Oh,
in a
what
work
would
of
I like
fiction.
to test?
Look at the questions.
Name B.
Look at the test. What is the test? 3 questions. Does the film or book have at least 2 female characters, both of whom have names and not bystander A and passerby B? Okay. Second, do they both talk to each other, and do they talk to each other about anything other than men? If the answer to all 3 questions is yes, the film passes. So clearly it's about women being appropriately represented. It's got nothing to do with gender or, sorry, it has to do with gender, but it doesn't have anything to do with sexuality.
Yes, ma'am. It's all about women.
Woman, ma'am.
Okay, and if you see the paragraph above that, it talks about this was a test which judged whether a film or any other work of fiction has an active presence of women. Okay, so it is to test
Yes,
if
ma'am.
women are appropriately represented in a work of fiction. All right, which of the following is not a criterion to test if a film passes the Bechdel test? A, there must be 2 or more female characters in the film. B, the 2 female characters must converse about something other than boys or children. C, there must be a conversation between the 2 female characters. And D, the 2 female characters should have names.
Ma'am, E. Ma'am, the 2 female characters should be females.
Should
Ma'am.
have.
Ma'am, B. The 2 female
Which
characters
is
must
not
converse
a
about
criteria.
something other
There
than
should be,
boys or children.
there should
I
be
think the
girls.
answer is D. You should have female names
अरे
instead
चुप
of
करो
boys.
यार.
So this is B, because the question is which is not a criteria. Now you need to have 2 or more females, that is a criteria. There must be a conversation between the 2 female characters, that is also a criteria. The 2 female characters should have names, which is also a criteria. The other criteria is that the 2 female characters must converse about something other than men, but there is nothing mentioned about children. So our option here is B. Because there is nothing mentioned about children, this is not a criteria to test if the film passes the Bechdel test. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What is the meaning of the phrase splendid gallery as used in the passage?
Ma'am, aesthetically beautiful women.
Ma'am, a gallery that is splendid.
The numerous female characters that the author remembers to have read about, the few
Option.
women mentioned in books that the author remembers, not the authors. There is a typo here again. Okay. C, the aesthetically beautiful women depicted in books. And D, art galleries in books that the author has read about. Let's see where splendid gallery is used. Who can tell me where splendid gallery is used?
Ma'am, starting
Ma'am, I
line.
can't. Ma'am,
All
starting line.
these relationship
All-
between women.
Ma'am, starting line, all the relationships, ma'am.
Right.
All these relationships between.
Anybody has read this book, A Room of One's Own?
Yes, ma'am.
You've read it? Awesome.
Ma'am, but I forgot, ma'am.
No, that's very impressive. I'm very happy to hear that.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, my grandfather has a passion of reading books, so he just keeps suggesting me, ma'am.
Excellent, excellent. Rapidly recalling the splendid gallery of fictitious women.
Mom, what does the term fictitious women mean?
Imaginary.
No, ma'am, fictitious or fictitious?
भाई वो जो रात को आती है
They're the
सपने
same.
में यार.
Fictional and fictitious are the same. They are synonyms. What is a synonym?
Ma'am, a word which is the meaning of the other. Ma'am, both words mean the same thing.
Right. Exactly.
Ma'am, but ma'am, when we study accounts, fictitious means something else, so I got a bit confused.
Okay. Remember us having this talk about meaning number 1, meaning number 2, meaning number 3 of words in English?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry,
In
ma'am.
this context, fictitious is fictional. In the context of cheating, it could have a far more negative connotation, right? So it depends on the usage. In this context, it is fictional. All right.
Got it, ma'am.
Now let's go back. Recalling the splendid gallery. That is what Virginia Woolf says, right? So clearly it's A, the numerous female characters that the author remembers to have read about. See the sentence again. Rapidly recalling the splendid gallery of fictitious women. And then she goes on to say, I tried to remember any case, blah, blah, blah. It's clearly about her memory. So the numerous female characters that the author remembers to have read about. Option A, that is our answer. Okay. What do you think the author means by an active presence of women? A, having a high sex ratio amongst its characters. B, having more women than men. C, having female characters who are substantial to the story rather than just being shown characters in relation to men. And D, having women actively engaged throughout the film, not in a cameo or a short role that lasts less than 5 minutes.
I'm having a higher.
Ma'am, option
gender ratio,
C.
ma'am.
Thought it was
Option
A or
D.
B, but now I think it's C or D. So it's either A, B, C, or D.
Ma'am,
No,
option
option
C.
D.
See, we are
नहीं
not
भाई, नहीं
given
है.
anything about how long a female character should
Yes,
appear
ma'am.
for in a movie, right?
You were see.
Short role which lasts less than 5 minutes, that is very contextual. If the movie itself is a short film of 7 minutes and 5 of those minutes are spent on 2 women, then that is an active presence of women, right? So the quantification is not there, so D is out. So our option is C, having
Option
female
C.
characters who are both substantial to the story rather than just being shown characters in relation to men.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Now the last question. Which of these statements is false about Alison Bechdel as described in the passage? A, she is a homosexual. B, she is an American cartoonist. C, she wrote about representation of women. And D, she has homosexual characters in her comic.
Ma'am,
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 A.
she is a homo, ma'am.
Right. A is our answer
A.
here. In real life, she may have been a homosexual, but in this passage, we are not given that information. And we have to restrict ourselves to whatever information we have been given in the passage. Okay? So
Yes,
our
ma'am.
answer here is A.
Ma'am, but I think Virginia Woolf is an excellent author.
Sorry?
I think Virginia Woolf is an excellent author. I read To the Lighthouse recently.
Virginia Woolf is definitely an excellent author.
Yeah, I read
Nobody
The
is going to
Lighthouse.
argue with you on that. All right. Now we take questions. All right. Now tell me. We have quite a lot of time. Cool.
How much of the syllabus are we left with?
How many mocks are we left with? I think mock 7, 8, 9, 10 are already done. So 4, 5, and 6. 3 more mocks. See, syllabus-wise, you have already been taught whatever you need to know. What
True.
we are doing now is practice for your CLAT.
Nice curtains, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Not mine, my parents. All right, questions. Everybody had so many questions in the middle of the passage. Now that we have a dedicated question session, where are your questions? Come on.
Ma'am, people are too shy to ask questions, ma'am.
What is there to be shy about? Most of you have switched off your camera. I can't even see you. So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. People
Come
just
on.
don't want to ask.
Yeah, please. You can't be shy if you're going to be a lawyer.
मैम लॉ की क्लास है
Sorry?
मैम मैं तो बीवी की क्लासेस ढूंढ रहा था
Okay, come on. Questions. Did you all give the NLAT exam?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I
How
gave
did
the
you-
retest
how was it?
also.
How was it?
Ma'am, it was very unexpected, ma'am.
बोर्ड का इंग्लिश का नहीं हो रहा था ये?
No, guys, seriously, like they did a lot of cheating.
भाई मैंने तो पियन सेट किया था वॉशरूम में
Okay, anyway, that NLAT is done and over with. Now concentrate on CLAT. CLAT is more important, definitely. I'm sure Vishrut sir has already given you a lot of pep talk and lecture about this. CLAT is definitely more important than NLAT.
Ma'am,
The
Bangalore
chances
is
of you
that
getting
law.
in are also much higher because the number of seats is much higher, right?
Man, but the IPL is starting. It's such a big distraction, I tell you.
IPL.
Ma'am, Indian Bengali Premier League.
What is that? No questions. Okay. Either I'm a very good teacher or none of you are listening. So
Ma'am, maybe both.
it can't be both.
भाई
They are mutually exclusive statements.
Ma'am, you're too good and we're too bad.
That is
Now they're
also
separate
not-
entities.
That is also not an acceptable answer. Okay, come on. बीच में तो questions आ रहे थे. अभी क्या हुआ? सब सो गए क्या?
Please kick out these two people, ma'am. They're irritating us.
Which two
Yes,
people?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Which are
Ma'am,
these two people? You have to tell me. No?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, I
Sayyid,
can't.
ma'am,
Ma'am, they're
Sayyid,
changing their names continuously, ma'am.
Sayyid Shafi and Adnan, ma'am.
Okay. Now I see everybody has gone silent. Okay, if nobody has any doubts or questions or anything to ask, I'm going to close the session. Okay.
Ma'am, I have a question.
help कर देगा ना?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Ma'am, second paragraph passage, second question.
एक क्वेश्चन तो पूछ
भाई बोल ले.
भाई शर्मा क्यों रहा है
Passage, second question.
Yeah, ma'am, yeah.
You wanted to be part of this movement. This one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is your question?
Ma'am, why not A? Why B?
Why would it be movement of goods from one place to another? How is that even relevant here?
because it's B
Ma'am, because the passage telling about.
Bro, you're not audible.
भाई माइक के पास आके बोल
मैम पैसेज बता रहा है इसके बारे में आप देख सकते
Bro, it's an English class.
Passage is not talking about movement of goods. The whole point of the passage is the author used to go shopping in a sabzi mandi with her mother, And then with the technological advancement, she learnt about doorstep
Walmart.
delivery and everything being delivered to her house.
ग्रोफर्स होता है यार क्या बोल
And
रहा
her not going out. How is movement of goods relevant here? What is
Big
movement of
basket.
goods?
Import, export.
अंदर
Okay,
बाहर
that
का
is
काम
one kind of movement of goods.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I
What
don't
else?
think Syed had a valid point, ma'am.
Ma'am, I don't think he paid attention in class.
Ma'am, he needs a doubt session, ma'am.
Syed,
There are no dumb questions.
भाई
There are
कहाँ
no
जा
dumb
रहा है?
questions. Anybody can ask anything.
Syed, man, your voice is annoying.
Hey, no personal insults, okay? Behave yourself, guys.
I
You're not
apologize.
little children, no? You're all
Guys,
teenagers.
this
You're
is really
almost
bad.
adults.
एक हद तक सही लगता है यार. Don't go on the teacher. मैम इतनी मेहनत करके हमको पढ़ा रही है.
Teacher को तो कोई बोल नहीं रहा. Ma'am is a wonderful teacher.
Yes.
But it's disrespectful अगर तुम मैम के भी स्टूडेंट को ये सब बोलते हो. ऐसा मत बोलो यार, गंदी बात.
I apologize.
But if someone disrespects ma'am, I disrespect him. सीधा कर दूंगा.
Let's go back to the passage, okay? It was unbelievable and we wanted to be part of this movement, right? The sentence is right here. What is this paragraph talking about? It's talking about technological advancement, right? How she could order on her phone and her grocery or book, home supplies, everything would be delivered to her doorstep.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I was thinking that I could also give an exam for ITUS.
Other than CLAT, of course.
Ma'am, even I want to pursue the same degree, ma'am.
Ma'am, ITUS, ma'am, I think it's very popular right now.
ITUS, ma'am.
Yeah, International Talent of Ultimate Students.
Ma'am, it's a really
Give
difficult.
whatever exam you want to give.
Ma'am, it's a really
There is
difficult
no
course.
harm in giving exams. IIT भी दे दो, medical
Not
भी
a
दे
lot
दो,
of
क्या
people
है?
get
Ma'am, ITUS, ma'am.
Ma'am,
हाँ
fortunately,
तो
I
दे
was
दो,
the one.
क्या है? Whatever exam you want to give, you give. No. You want to take a personality quiz online, you give that also. Who is stopping you?
I want to go in Indian Idol.
जाओ.
Ma'am, मैंने
Who
तो
is
राउडी
stopping you?
ऑडिशन
Go.
देना है.
बहुत आगे जाएगा तू. मैं अन्नू मलिक बोल रहा हूँ. गा के सुना.
Thank you, sir.
However, this is a CLAT coaching, so for these other tests and all, if you want to prepare, you'll have to go and speak to Vishnu sir.
Ma'am, can they ask us about the different degrees of murder, ma'am? The first, second, and third degree, ma'am.
Sorry?
Ma'am, can they ask us about the difference in different degrees of murder, ma'am? First, second, and third degree, ma'am.
Murder?
Ma'am, is it a relevant question?
I'm not very sure what you mean by that.
Ma'am, am I
First
audible?
degree murder and second degree murder.
You're very
Ma'am,
much audible, man.
Ma'am, can they ask us about the difference between the first, second, and third degree of murder, ma'am?
I'm
Ma'am,
not
The
a
question
criminal
is
lawyer.
never
thing is-
related to first, second, third degree of murder. It's always the burns.
Ma'am, the thing is, I'm attracted towards the third degree, ma'am, but to prove myself innocent, I have to make it as a second degree murder, ma'am.
What is second degree of murder?
Ma'am, जब गलती से हो जाए.
And what is first degree of murder?
Ma'am, फिर second क्या होता है?
मुझे क्या पता? You are telling me about this, so you tell me, no? You want to commit a third degree murder, so you
First
tell me
होता है जब आप
what is
mentally
first and
unfit
second
हो.
and third.
First होता है जब आप mentally unfit हो.
भाई रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है देख के करना सब.
चुप.
You do know that Vishnu sir has access to your parents, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that this is all getting recorded, as somebody pointed out finally.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Ma'am, I didn't know he's a snitch.
I'm not a snitch, man. Come on.
There is nothing to be sorry for to me.
I'm not a snitch, man.
Guys, अब बस
I'm
पढ़ने
not
दो यार.
talking about you,
disturb
bro,
मत
with Yush. I'm talking about, ma'am, what was the name of the sir?
Alright, if there are no questions, I'm going to close this session. Okay, you guys are free to chit chat by yourself. Absolutely no problem. It's good
It
to
was a
interact
pleasure.
with your
It
peers.
was a pleasure, ma'am.
Ma'am, please don't end the meeting, ma'am. We'll just chat.
We're gonna talk to each other, ma'am. Like it's great to have someone pursuing the same goals, ma'am.
Okay, the meeting is going to go off the moment I leave.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
shouldn't.
can you like make someone an admin and then you can leave so maybe we can talk.
Can't do that. I don't have the controls. I just have the faculty control.
Ma'am, if you click on my name, ma'am, you'll see an option to make an admin. Ma'am, you can do
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
I am not sure if I get that because I am not the admin. No, Vishnu.
Ma'am, you can share your screen and I can guide you through it, ma'am.
Ma'am, it says that you are the admin. That's why I asked.
Okay, all of you have a Zoom, right? Why don't you just open?
Ma'am, because
a
we
personal
can't connect with each other, ma'am. Like we don't exactly know each other
If
that
you
well.
leave,
you
ma'am, ma'am, the meeting will end if you leave. But we wanna socialize, ma'am.
Okay, you can socialize in your own free time. Right?
Thank you. Toodles.
So I'm going to end this. You still have half an hour left. So feel free to socialize.
हाँ भाई फिर मीटिंग बना रहे हो लूडो खेलते हैं.
Bye bye. See you guys next.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
खुदा हाफिज इकरा. खुदा
All the
हाफिज इकरा.
best.
या अल्लाह हाफिज.
थोड़ा पढ़ाई भी कर लो. खाली चिट चैट मत करो. थोड़ा.
सैयद भाई क्या हाल है?
सैयद